Good morning, guys. Dr. Chris Stanley here, Doctor of Physical Therapy and Health and Wellness Coach. Today is Thursday, October 8th, and I actually recorded this Drivecast yesterday, but I went too long and YouTube did not like the length of my video when I tried to upload it. So I'm going to re-record it today. Yesterday was my birthday. Yesterday actually was my 40th birthday, and yeah, I'm just as blown away as you guys are about that. I got a lot of like, what's and no way. So it felt pretty good. I want to say thank you to everybody who sent us a Facebook message, sent me a text message. I got video compilations, I got voicemail messages. I really felt a lot of love yesterday for my birthday. I'm so grateful to have the people in my life. To have that many people who thought of me yesterday was pretty awesome. So to everybody who sent me a message or a Facebook post or a text or anything, thank you so much. It really was a pretty cool day. So this Drivecast was originally going to be about why eating fat does not make you fat. And then when I was driving to work yesterday, I kind of, on my 40th birthday, it kind of hit me. I kind of had a realization of something that happened about 5 or 6 years ago. About that time, I was living in Austin, Texas, and I was the clinic director of an outpatient orthopedic physical therapy clinic. And you know, life was pretty good on paper. I really had a lot to be, you know, excited about, and but I remember when I think back to that time, I was actually very unhappy, and I might have been borderline, you know, depressed there for a short period of time. You know, like I said, on paper, I was a doctor of physical therapy, had a great girlfriend, lived in one of the greatest cities in the country, was running my own clinic, and you know, like I said, on paper it all looked pretty good, but it wasn't really doing it for me, and I was not very happy. I was working my butt off, wasn't really getting anywhere. I was pulling 60-hour weeks on the regular. It was putting a strain on my relationship with Allison, and it was putting a strain on relationships with friends. I lost a lot of friendships during that period of time. It put a strain on my family relationships, and I remember everything just kind of came to a boiling point, and I think one day I just kind of looked around, and I realized that I was really unhappy. And I remember vividly saying to myself, and I think I may have even mentioned this to Allison, I said, I do not want to wake up on my 40th birthday living like this, working this hard. I do not want things to be the way they are right now. And I had no idea what that meant, how I would do that. I just knew I was fed up, and I was exhausted and burnt out and broken, and so I didn't have a plan. All I had was a vision and a determination to not continue to let my life go by like that. And so here I am, just had my 40th birthday, and I look around at my life, and everything just kind of came full circle. I mean, I'm not doing anything the way I was doing it before. For instance, you know, I'm super happy. I'm having a blast out here in California. I'm making almost twice as much money as I was making before, and I'm working about half as hard, and that feels pretty good. That's a pretty cool birthday present, if you ask me. I have a lot of other goals and things that I'm trying to accomplish out here. This whole travel therapy thing is just a stepping stone to the things that I have planned for myself. But when I compare my now to my back then, you know, back then I was miserable. When my feet hit the floor in the morning, it was after I snoozed my alarm 4 times, and I you know, I forced myself out of bed, and I was just not excited to start the day again. I feel like I still haven't recovered from the day before. And now my feet hit the floor, no snoozing the alarm. I mean, I really don't do it. I'm like stoked to get out of bed. My feet hit the floor, I'm ready to go, I'm determined, I'm motivated, I've got energy, I'm happy. I drink my pre-workout drink, I knock out a P90X workout and a P90X3 workout, and then, you know, I'm off and running. And Allison and I are usually planning some kind of either evening adventure or weekend adventure, and we're taking full advantage. So when I think back to that time when I had to kind of make a change, basically, because people ask me like, well, how did you go from then to now? What was the course and the system you used? The first thing that I had to do was take ownership of my situation. And so in retrospect, it's always easy to look back and say we were doing something wrong after we've stopped doing it, right? So when I look back, I realize now that I was making a lot of excuses for my situation, and I was blaming a lot of people, other people, for it, right? So I blamed my supervisors, I blamed the company I worked for, I blamed my parents, I blamed anybody I could think of. I mean, it was all about passing blame onto somebody else, and I was making a lot of excuses. I didn't want to fail. I was afraid it probably wouldn't work out. I'm not that kind of person to succeed. Whatever it was, I made a lot of excuses, and I started listening to some personal development and reading some personal development. I started listening to audiobooks. And like, for instance, one of the things I started doing during that time was I used to listen to music on the radio, and then I started listening to talk shows on the radio, and then I started listening to NPR, because I guess at some point I thought, hey, I think a lot of smart people listen to NPR, so I'm going to do that too. And then pretty soon I quit doing that, and I started listening to audiobooks and podcasts, personal development and leadership and self-development. And basically I spent any time that I had trying to become a better person, because what I eventually came to realize is that the reason why I wasn't in the situation that I wanted to be in was because I wasn't the person who was ready to be there. So I had to become the person who gets to have the things that I wanted. So a lot of people, if people are out there and they don't like their current situation, they don't like how much money they're making, they don't like the type of job they have, whatever, the solution is not in the external environment, it's in the internal environment. So I had to change my internal environment if I wanted my external environment to change, right? So I started hearing these quotes that a lot of these successful people were saying, like, if you want something different, you have to do something different. And it's such a simple quote, but we're not out there doing that. We all want something different, and all we do is spend our time and energy complaining about it. So those are some of the things that I started doing. I just started trying to be more grateful for what I had instead of bitching and complaining about what I didn't have. That was very helpful. A lot of stuff started changing. I know it sounds crazy. You're thinking, well, just thinking like that, stuff started changing. Yes, that really does work. The power of positivity is not just a catchphrase that a lot of these, successful people are using. There's something behind it. So started really doing a lot of gratitude stuff, started meditating, started listening to a lot of this personal development. I started seeing a therapist, and I know a lot of people, kind of turn their nose up at therapy, and they think it's for crazy people, and it's really not. I'm telling you, I used to think that. That's the reason why I can say that, because I was one of those people. But I started listening to these successful people who are living their dreams and making tons of money and being happy and business and whatever. And almost all of them will tell you that they went and saw a therapist to get help with kind of overcoming fear and doubt and self-inhibition and all these things that tend to just keep us stagnant where we are. So those are some of the things that I started doing, and it's still a work in progress. Like I said, this is just a stepping stone. I've made some big changes in the last 5 or 6 years, but I'm not even close to being finished. As a matter of fact, all this change has convinced me of is how much more I can change. And that's been an extremely important component to this whole transformation for me. I suffer from a condition called learned helplessness is what it's called. And as soon as I caught wind of that concept, I identified with it immediately. And it's basically the idea that, we're just supposed to be happy with what we have, and we can't get anything else, and we live in this environment of lack instead of living with the idea of abundance. And that concept it was a hard pill for me to swallow, but I identified it identified with it, and I knew that I had to attack that and deal with it if I was going to move forward, and I did. I'm still dealing with it. And it's not easy every day. Allison and I are having a great time out here in California, but it has not been without its struggles. So some of the things that I'm still kind of dealing with is fear of failure, and you know, I'm learning how to just head first into stuff, and if it doesn't work out, I modify and change and try again. So I guess what I really want this Drivecast to be about is I want you guys to think about where you're at and what it is that you don't like about it. Some of you may be perfectly happy where you are, and that's great. But if there's stuff you want to change, if you're unhappy, if you're unsatisfied, if you feel like you're working yourself to death and you're not getting anywhere, you don't have anything to show for it, all you do is just come home and you're just, you know, all you can do is crash and hope that you recover enough to try to muster up the energy to do it again tomorrow. If you're not satisfied, if you've got bigger stuff you want to go after, ask yourself, where do you want to be on your next birthday? Where do you want to be 5 birthdays from now? What are you willing to do to get there? And then the very first thing you have to do is take ownership of your current situation. You can't blame anybody else. Stop making excuses. Take ownership of where you are. Take ownership of the fact that you're the reason you're in the situation you're in. Nobody else put you there. Nobody else forced you to take the job that you have, or be with the person you're with, or whatever it is that has your kind of life in, you know, in turmoil right now. Take ownership, take responsibility, and then from there you're able to do anything. You can start engineering what is the next step that you need to take to accomplish your goal or to change your situation or whatever. So yeah, think about that and ask yourself, are you really owning your situation? Are you taking responsibility for what is happening in your life? And once you do that, then you can start driving the change. So I hope, you know, somewhere along the way, I hope somebody was able to listen to that and maybe get some value from it. Allison and I are headed to Yosemite Park this weekend for a birthday camping trip. So hopefully we'll be posting some great pictures from Yosemite. In the meantime, share this. If there's anybody that you can think of who might benefit from hearing this, please share it. Friends, family, whatever. As always, message me, ask me any questions you have. I'd be happy to provide any additional information I can. Hope you guys have a great Thursday and a great weekend. We'll see you on the other side. Bye.